What up, QC crew? King Day is in the mother building.
Run it up for sure. JBRISKO, not no amateur. Run that shit, we at all the show. Say that shit for your camera.
Warning. Everything said in this video and on this platform is strictly my opinion and all alleged. Here, we speak about hot topics on YouTube and other social media platforms for entertainment and conversational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
What it do, it is your homie King Day here in King's Corner, and I am back with another reaction video for you. So look, I was scrolling on Facebook and I seen that there was this story that was kind of semi going viral about a woman who got addicted to crack. Now, this is nothing new, okay? This is not like a new drug out on the street, nothing new on the market. But the question came about, like, could you date someone who was addicted to something like crack? And I said, let me take a look and see if this person's video is still up and out on TikTok. And it is. She has about 10 parts about how she started drugs. And then she did another about like 10 parts about being and staying sober. Now, these videos came out about a good month or so ago. And she just recently wrapped up the series maybe a week or two ago. And a couple of days ago, she relapsed. But I believe it was like a one-day thing where she did what she did. And then now she's on like day 3, 4, 5 of being clean. So I said, hey, why not? You know, I can definitely bring it over here in King's Corner and see what the people think about it. First, before we start, I want to know down in the comment section, could you, will you, have you dated someone who was addicted to drugs such as crack? Y'all let me know in the comments, all right? Look, her parts to her series are not long like Risa Tisa. As I was saving them to my playlist, I noticed a couple of them were 2 and 3 minutes. Some of them were a minute and a half. Some of them were 4. It's not long and all drawn out, so we should be here for a nice time, a nice little brief time, not a super duper duper long time. But if it happens to be a long time and you're watching the entire video, I thank you for that, all right? So look, I ain't gonna hold you. I never do. If you with me like I with you, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. We're gonna get straight into this video. Let's get it. Let go. All right, y'all, really quick. I know you guys would have loved to hear this from her mouth because this is her story. However, she has some copywritten music under her voice, and then her video, the audio is going in and out and in and out. And it's just better for me to sum up part 1 before we get into part 2. All right, so really quick. Basically, she says she did not have the best relationship with her mother. Her mother suffered from bipolar schizophrenia, and her dad passed away. When her dad passed away, she got $100,000 from, I'm assuming, insurance or something, but it happened when he passed away. Got her $100,000. She went and bought her a car. She was still in high school. She had the car for about 6 months. Her mama told her and preached to her, do not let nobody use your car. Do not let nobody drive the car. And she didn't up until this day. It was like prom day or around prom time. She let her boyfriend use the car. He called her, told her, hey, I crashed the car. She, kind of got a little nervous. She didn't want to deal with her mama, didn't want to hear her mama mouth. So her and the boyfriend just fled the scene. They just dipped. She left home and went to Florida. Now, she says in Florida, she had an apartment that was paid up for like 2 years or something. And once they got there, she got pregnant with her first child. Pretty much all she said. Let's get into part 2.
How I became addicted to crack, part 2. So in the last video, I stated that the car was totaled. He totaled the car. I'm at the nail shop. So we went on a run, and mind you, I never said anything about the graduation. I just told y'all we went on a run. But I had to graduate, right? It's prom and then it's graduation.
Right.
And let's be for real. He wasn't even my prom date. Like, that's probably irrelevant, but pretty ghetto. But anyway, I done had to get me a rental because, like I said, my car was totaled, so I ended up getting me a rental. And me and him drove to my prom in the rental. I ended up seeing my mama. That's the first person I ended up seeing. So when my name was called, I ran, I grabbed my diploma, my mama chased us, but I ended up hopping in the rental, and from that day forward, we ended up getting hotel rooms until it was time for me to move into my apartment in Florida that was paid off for 2 years. But when I tell y'all I haul ass at that graduation, I got on through, man. I'm always so mad at me. And me being young and dumb, I should have just bought a car, but instead I got an empty U-Haul because my plan was to move to Florida with the U-Haul, buy the furniture, because I had the money, the $100,000, buy the furniture, take everything back. That never happened. I lied, that did happen. So we did end up getting the furniture, but instead of turning the U-Haul in after we used it for what it was meant for, then we end up just riding around in the U-Haul for months, just
Hell
the
no.
U-Haul for months like it was our car. You know,
Ain't no way.
So anyway, I forgot to tell y'all that when we was getting these hotels, my mama still had I was still attached to her bank account. So I was using my card, you know, young and dumb. And she ended up texting me and she was like, yeah, you keep getting them hotels in your name. I'm going to keep knowing where you at. So you know me. After that, I started getting the money out the ATM and booking my hotel rooms with cash. Back then, you could use cash. So yeah. How I became addicted to crack part 2. How I became addicted to crack part 3. So moving along, after prom, after graduation, after the hotels, we end up driving a U-Haul from Charleston, South Carolina, all the way to Florida, because that's where I'm from, if you don't know that already. So once we got settled into the apartment, like I said, the apartment was paid off in 2 years already. I wasn't worried about that. The only thing I had to do was get some furniture. So after we got the furniture, like I said in the previous video, I should have just turned the U-Haul in. Instead, I end up keeping it for 6 months. So at this time, I'm enrolled in school at Full Sail University for recording arts. I ended up getting pregnant, so I had this thing called hyperemesis. Only 1 out of 100 women get it, and I got it. So I had motion sickness. I had all types. I couldn't keep no food down. I couldn't keep water down. I couldn't eat candy. I couldn't drink Gatorade. I couldn't do nothing. I just had a plastic bag, and I would just throw up. And on top of that, it was nothing for me to throw up, so I was throwing up acid. It would scar my throat all the time. So with me not being able to go to school, I'm in the house all the time. And we're not going to talk too much about my kid's father. So to speed things up, the $100,000 is now, gone. So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm not in school. I don't have money. I have a baby. What am I going to do? So I did have a scholarship. Being that I wasn't in school that long, I still had like $48,000 left or something like that. So I went and I found schools that had apartments associated with the schools that would accept, my scholarship to pay for the housing.
Okay.
So I ended up finding one in Miami, the Art Institute of Miami, on Biscayne Boulevard. Like, what? I know it's getting juicy, but stay tuned for part 4. How I became addicted to crack part 4. So like I said, I had the scholarship for $48,000, something around there. So I ended up applying my scholarship to some condos on Biscayne that was like 2 minutes away from the school. So after that, I was like, boom, we good. So we ended up getting in there. I had my baby or whatever, and it was 2 other girls that was in there. So they was cool with the baby being there or whatever. They just was like, we still in school. Just make sure, everything. And he was standing there too. I had my own room. So story gets a little juicy after this. Pisses me off every time I think about it. But all in all, long time ago, all jokes now, it's a part of my story. So, long story short, I ended up getting put out because something that my kid's father did, and I was held responsible for it, so I got terminated from the school. So now, I don't have a car, I don't have a U-Haul, I don't have a place to stay, I get kicked out, I got a newborn baby, I don't know what to do. So now I'm calling my mama, the same person who I'm in a feud with. I done been down here for, I think like a year or 2 now. So it had to been 2. So yeah. So my stepdaddy ended up trying to get me a rental car, but at that time they said that he could not do that because whoever the card holder is, their ID has to be present. So now we sitting at the park with a newborn baby because we don't know what to do. So I think I ended up going into the hotel restaurant, going upstairs into the kitchen. The kitchen was closed. There was some chairs there. So I ended up sleeping right there with my baby. But of course, I'm a mother. My eyes were still one eye open, one eye closed. Stay tuned for part 5 to figure out how I got back home with the baby. How I became addicted to crack, part 5. So after we done slept a little bit and, you know, pondered with the baby in the chairs inside the hotel restaurant, I ended up calling my stepdad again. I had a suggestion. So I said we can catch the bus up there. I think at that time it was called a mega bus, or either it was the Greyhound. I think it was the Greyhound. So after we got home, I ended up moving with my kid's mother. And I ended up moving in for like a week. He supposedly was supposed to be trapping, and I noticed the patterns. He actually was going to see a female that he was dealing with before me. So I packed my stuff up, I packed my baby up, and I moved with my grandma. So after moving with my grandma, I'm living there for like 6 months now, working at McDonald's overnight. I'm trying to get out of her house, but I'm only getting paid minimum wage, saving $25. Constantly hearing, you know, you got to get your own place. And now, you know, I didn't know about no CPNs back then, so it's hard. It's almost impossible. So days go by, and I realize that there's a no vacancy sign put up on her yard. So to me, my little young mind, I'm like, at a hotel, no vacancy mean no room. So the only people living there at that time was me, my grandma, my granddad, and my son. So, you know, me, I'm like, okay, I'm hard-headed. So I'm like, all right, you don't want me, my child, here. So I get my stuff and I drive my baby to the beauty supply store. I end up meeting this girl. We're gonna call this girl Brittany. So I tell Brittany my situation, and she's with it. She's, you know, she's going through a breakup. So she's like, dang, we can, you know, we can script, we can make some money, we can get a hotel. It's about to be Bikers Week in Myrtle Beach. So we did just that. We drove to Myrtle Beach with the baby, and we got there, and our plan was she was going to be in the car with the baby while I get on stage, vice versa. But when we got to the club, we found out that you can't come in and out the club like that. You got to stay in the club. So me, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not proud of it, but he survived. I put him in the back seat on the floor with a cover, and I propped the bottle up, and I cracked the windows. Brittany at the time went on ahead along me and told the security guard, which I was so scared, but he was with it. He said if he heard the baby crying, he would check on the baby and he would let us know. I know it's getting real juicy, because we about to go to the Players Club, baby, but you got to stay tuned for part 6.
We're going to let her get on into it. You see how it's moving? We on part 6 already, baby. It ain't that many parts to the first section, so we getting through this. But I want to know, jeez Louise, she left her baby in the car. This woman is not that old. I want to say she's 33, 32. I think she says it somewhere in here. Maybe I just seen it on another TikTok. It was so hard for me to find these parts. Oh my God, she posts so much on TikTok, okay? I was just scrolling. But she's in her 30s, early 30s. She left her kid in the car to go make some money in a club. And I mean, I understand she had to do what she had to do, but golly, I would be scared. I would be scared. I don't know. I probably would have to miss. I had to miss out on the coin. The initial plan, which is not that safe either, because you just met this girl at the beauty supply. You ain't run into her. This somebody you went to school with and you kind of know of her or know her family, know a little bit of background. You met her at the beauty supply. And y'all came up with a grand plan for you to go in the club, do your thing, and then she come out and watch the baby, and you know, vice versa. But you don't even know her like that either to be doing that. Whew, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. But let's get back into it. Let's get into it.
We get to this strip club, and the baby's in the back seat with the bottle propped up in the cover. So mind you now, a week later, I had seen that some kids had died because they kept their kids in the car and it was overheated. So anyway, moving along, we was able to dance, we made money, and she decided that she was going to go back home. I had nowhere to go back home to. I'm devastated, I'm distraught, because I'm like, we came here with this plan. We supposed to be dancing, we supposed to be in a room, and now she's going back home. So now we go back, she goes back home, and I'm with my baby, so I'm walking on the strip of Myrtle Beach. It's Bikers Week. So I end up finding this dude that has this older woman who is his mom, and he has these 3 beautiful multiracial children. I end up going with them because I'm thinking everything is safe. They end up telling me that they got a house in Atlanta.
So once they tell me that they got a house in Atlanta, we can crash there until we get ourselves straight. I'm like, okay, cool. I done found like some cool people. It's children. It's an older woman involved. I'm good. So stay tuned for part 7 to figure out how I got to Atlanta. So after Bikers Week was over, we gathered up our stuff, and then it was time to go to the house in Atlanta. Once we got to Atlanta, guys, I found out the ultimate. Thought my life was over. So now we in Atlanta. We driving around in this van with this older woman and these 3 biracial children. So now their hustle was to go to each gas station, wake up every morning, go to each gas station and beg for money, panhandle, let everybody know that the woman has a brain aneurysm or whatever and the children need food. So that was the finesse that we would do every day, and we would get enough money to get a hotel, some cocaine, and some alcohol and some food. I wasn't on cocaine at this time. I wasn't on any drugs at this time. The only drugs that I did do was weed, and that's. So after this, we got our hotel rooms. No, he would not let any man like have eye contact with me, so I felt like I was stuck. But one day, I went to this gas station and I saw this guy. I slipped him my number very fast so that I could be able to contact him so I can get out my situation. After that, I started communicating with the guy, and I ended up meeting this guy that told me that there was a strip club that was not too far from the hotel that we were staying in. So I ended up meeting this girl. Once I got dropped off to the strip club, my child was at the hotel. Remember that. So I went to go audition for the strip club, but I didn't have a tip out. You had to have a tip out. So I didn't have a tip out, and I ended up getting stuck at the strip club. Stay tuned for part 8.
What's a tip out? From what she's saying, it sounds like, I don't know, you got to pay your fee for stripping at the club that night, and she ain't have enough to pay it. I don't know. Tip out.
How I became addicted to crack part 8. Now, I'm at the strip club and I'm stuck. I end up meeting a girl. Her name is Molly. So, Molly told me that she knows this guy that we can go stay at, and he provides drugs. I'm not doing drugs at this time. So anyway, we go to this house. It's an African man. We gonna call him Mink. So Mink said that we had to do Backpage, which was popular at the time. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. So Mink has the hookup. He knows guys or whatever. So eventually I fell into it. We had to pay $200 a day. I'm like, $200 a day? Molly's looking like, yeah, that's durable. I'm like, no. So anyway, I end up doing it. I end up getting my $200, but I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this every day. So we goes to the pool in the neighborhood, and I end up meeting these other guys. So with these other guys, I let them know my situation, and they're like, you should come stay with us. So I get my things, and I go stay with them. So after staying with this guy for a minute, I realized he want to be my pimp as well. But I just go along with it. So I'm working 2 strip clubs, which is Wax and another one out there in Covington, I believe. So I'm barely eating. I'm barely getting by. I'm giving him my money. So now it's time to come up with a plan. He choked me so bad one day. He was so short. He choked me one day bad so day. Y'all know what I mean. Until I almost was black and blue. So when I went to the club that night, I gave them his description and I told them don't let him in. I left all my things at his house, including social security cards. I said bump all. So after doing the run, I tried to get the police so I could get my stuff out of his house. That was unsuccessful. Stay tuned for part 8. I'm out to therapy, guys.
That's what's up.
All right. How I became addicted to crack part 9. So after I didn't go back, the police came. I ended up, the guy that I told y'all about earlier who I gave my number to at the gas station, this is who I ended up hitting up. So after I ended up hitting him up, he ended up coming get me. I don't have no stuff at this time, so I got to start all the way over. So I'm living with him, and my son is now taking in defects, as I already stated. So now I'm working towards getting my son back with the caseworker.
Y'all, I missed that.
So she gives me this list that's...
I missed that. And looking at the comments, I'm not the only one that missed it. Did y'all catch it? I didn't know the son. She must didn't go into detail about it. Let's continue.
That tells me all the things I gotta do. I gotta get a place. I gotta have my children, my son, a room. I gotta have toiletries. All this, the whole 9 yards. So after that, I'm working the program, but I'm smoking weed at the time. So now they're telling me that because I smoke weed, I have to get a hair follicle test. I have to get drug tested every month. So now I'm working towards getting him, but I'm still working at a strip club. I ended up getting a job at the strip club while living with him. So now I'm dancing, but I'm not trying to get clean. I'm not trying to, because I'm distraught. I just lost my child. So time goes by. I'm dancing at the Club Wax in Atlanta. If you don't know what Club Wax is, that's a very raunchy club, but that's where I made my money at. So I ended up meeting my kid's father, my youngest 2 kids' father, and we're going to call him Billy. So one day I had an afro in my hair, and Billy, approaches me with his friend. I originally started dancing with his friend, but his friend don't have no money. So Billy comes in, and Billy bills out $100, and he goes and gets $200 ones. So this is how I end up meeting my younger 2 kids' father. And stay tuned for part 10. So now comes the time where me and Billy, we are texting back and forth. So normally I send all my clients a forward text saying, you coming to fuck with me at the club, come pull up. He's the only one that's not texting me back. He's the only one that's not saying nothing. So one day I decided to ask him and try something different, and I said, do you know a school that I can go to? And I was honest. I was trying to just go another route. I wasn't trying to dance no more. So he says, yes. Moving forward, we end up talking. We go on a date. We end up going to the movies, both our hands sweating, palms sweating, everything like that. So now we get into the part where I let him know that my son is taken. He lets me know that he's going to do everything in his might to help me get my son back, and I believe him. So now we're working towards getting the child back. We move in with Billy's mom. It's not the most comfortable situation, but it is what it is. I have to get my child back, and I have this.
I've done a great job of not pausing it so much. I've just been listening. It hasn't really been much for me to comment on. Y'all drop y'all comments and y'all thoughts down in the comment section, though. But I have a really quick question. How are these men in these clubs, throwing hundreds of dollars at these women and living at home with their mama? How? Why? That's a better question. Why? Why are you not independent, sir? Why are you not up on your feet like you should be?
I have this new profound love of my life. So we did just that. We got an apartment. We did everything we needed to do. I got my son back.
Okay.
Stay tuned for part 10. I know. How I became addicted to crack, part 11. So now I'm in this new powerful relationship. We got this apartment. I got my son. He's like, matter of fact, I got him back a day after his first birthday. So now we're in this apartment. This apartment, y'all, is raggedy. It's in the middle of nowhere. And it's kids walking up to our car talking about, can I take your trash out for $5? That's how hood it was. Irrelevant, but I just had to add it in. So we in this apartment, on and off. Now I finally get pregnant with my second child, my daughter. So at this time, I find out that another girl, Brittany, is pregnant. And we are the same amount of weeks pregnant. Mind you now, this is my new profound life. So I'm losing my mind. I just got my son back. I don't know what to do at this point. So I did what anybody else would do. Well, anybody else in my 19-year-old shoes. I decided to stay. So time progresses, and he tells me that he don't think the baby is his. So there comes a time where we end up doing the breakup thing, because there was just lies being told. So now I go back home. To Charleston, South Carolina, because we're taking a break. I end up getting locked up, and I realized and found out that I had a warrant since 2012. This is like 2018, 19 at this point. Specifically, it was 2017. Once I got locked up, I was in jail for about 3 months. And me and my mother was not talking at this time. Eventually, she ended up answering my phone call, and that's when I was able to talk to my son. Once I got out of jail, I had nowhere to go, so I had to hit up Billy and ask Billy if I can come stay with him. At the time, Billy was staying with his dad because he lost his apartment, so I moved in with his then dad. His dad at the time was a crack dealer, and his wife was a crack user. You do the math. He was the dealer, and she was the user. He was selling it to her. So if you want to do the math, this is the part that everybody has been waiting on. So yes, you have to wait until the morning for part 12 on how I became addicted to crack. Fight me. How I became addicted to crack part 12. So 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. The math is mathing, honey. If his daddy sell drugs to his wife, I'm in the house. My husband at the time, T says husband. My husband at the time was going on tour. So, being that he was going on tour, he told his dad at the time that I had an addictive personality to watch out for me. So, the dad was supposed to watch out for me, but that did not happen. So, on the day that he went to go on his tour, no time was wasted. I was looking for weed because, mind you, I had just got out of jail from doing 3 months. So me getting out of jail from doing 3 months, yes, I was smoking weed or whatever the case may be. I had already done drugs, but I wasn't wanting that. I just wanted weed. So then when he leaves, she asked me, the wife, she asked me, you don't do this, do you? Because I asked her if, I could find some weed. She was like, no. She was like, you don't do this, do you? And I was like, no. Instantly, I was like, no. But you don't know the time of my life at that moment. I had nothing. I had just got out of jail. I had no money, no nothing. I mean, that's not an excuse to do crack. But instantly after I said no, something in me was like, yeah, I'm going to try it. So I used to lie to people, and I used to tell people when they used to ask me how I became addicted, I used to tell them somebody put it in my blunt. That never gave me any release. So I encourage everybody to tell your truth, no matter how bad it makes you look, no matter how embarrassed you are. God will bring you through. Give all the glory to God, and I promise you, you will have peace. God gives true peace to those who depends on him. So when she asked me if I want to hit it, I told her no, and then I instantly said yes, and I hit it. That's how I became addicted to crack. But when I hit it, it was only some residue. There was not a lot. There was like a 5 on there. She hit it, and then I hit it. So, of course, I want more. She thought that she was going to pimp me out, but that's not how that worked. Stay tuned for part 13. How I became sober, part 1. So when I met my girlfriend, I told her that I was clean for longer than what I was clean for, even though I was clean at the time. And the reason I was clean is because I was in a shelter for 3 months prior to meeting her. If you go back on my TikTok, you can see the different sceneries and stuff like that. I never hid my life. I never hid any of that. I just wasn't as vocal. But due to the shame and embarrassment, I stayed clean in the beginning while I was dating her because, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was doing crack. And also, I was still tempted because I was in my stomping grounds. God will bring you back places that was meant to destroy you, and he will lift you up in those same places. But alcohol at the time was the drug that I was abusing, which eventually led to relapse, and it became my gateway to smoking crack. So I would drink alcohol, then I would black out, and all my trauma would come pouring out. I would just start telling all my hurts, all my wrongs, all the things I did to people, all the things people did to me. I feel like in a sense I was just repenting out loud over and over again, just pouring out my heart. So the final time that was really horrible, that led to my binge, I had 12 Trulies. I had ordered a 12 pack of Trulies off of Uber Eats, and I drank them all within a matter of 2 hours or 1 hour. After that, I wandered off and I found somebody that had crack. My girlfriend came looking for me after I wandered off, and the next morning she found me sitting on the ground, and I was too embarrassed to walk anywhere. I had my location on, so that's how she was able to find me. And I was embarrassed because anytime I smoked somewhere, I would be stuck there because I would be embarrassed that people would know I would be high. So being that my location was on, my girlfriend was able to find me, and she helped me be able to walk back home. Since I started back, ended up getting blessed, and I was confused. I ended up getting a good job that paid for flight, paid for hotel, paid for rental, paid for training out in Florida. I mean, the whole 9. But I struggled to stay clean, and I eventually lost my job. So eventually I went back under the bridge, and stay tuned for part 2, how I got sober, to figure out what Under the Bridge is. How I became sober from crack, part 1.
So we got through how it started. I know I had to possibly chop and screw some things. She has music under a lot of these videos. So to sum it up, right? Since high school, you know, she kind of been on the run trying to do her own thing. She got $100,000 from her dad through insurance when he passed away. She kind of been on her own. She's going state to state, back and forth, ran into a couple of men. She did a couple of schemes, couple of scams, couple of whatever she can. She even danced to make money and continue to be independent, right? She went through a phase where she lost her son, got her son back. She went to jail for a warrant that she didn't even know she had. That was like 3 or 4 years old. When she got out of jail, she moved in with her second baby daddy. She only has 2. But she has 3 kids. And he had to go on tour for something. Don't know exactly what he went on tour for, but he had to go on tour. She stayed with her. She called him her husband. Her second baby daddy, she called him her husband. Her husband's dad, so her dad-in-law. He dealt drugs. His wife took drugs. And one day she was looking for weed because that was the only thing she craved when it came to a drug. And her father-in-law's wife says, "You don't do this, do you?" She said no, but quickly said yes. She tried it. It was just a little bit. She tried it. She liked it. And that's how she started. So now we are getting into her recovery and being sober. Let's see what this do, y'all.
I used to smoke Under the Bridge years ago, and this is me moving back with my girlfriend. Well, this is me moving with my girlfriend, and now this is downtown where I used to smoke. So now that I'm back smoking downtown, now I have a different feeling. Now I have to go inside tents and be from outside. I cannot smoke outside because I'm embarrassed. People are going to know I'm high. So I'm smoking in these tents, and I'm letting these people know that once I'm smoking in here, I cannot go nowhere until I come down. So I felt like I was hiding from everybody who wasn't smoking because they didn't know I was high because I was in these tents. And I was hiding. I was hiding from God because I was with my second God, crack. So being there, I would end up getting stuck wherever I smoke at, which was in the tents, like I said. In the next clip, I'm going to let y'all see what the tents were. Give me 1 second. So this is Under the Bridge. This is where I used to be, in these little tents right here. And I would take tissue with me if I had to use the bathroom. You know, things like that. Sometimes I didn't have tissue. I had to pop a squat, so, you know, I was ranked. Like, it is what it is. But, yeah, this is Under the Bridge. The trains would be coming. But, yeah. So I started venting to the people around me. And then eventually the venting turned into preaching. Even though I was smoking with those around me, I always felt different. I always felt different because it was so dark and negative and just so aggressive. But I was always just so full of love and positive vibes. Like, I mean, I'd be going for days just talking and preaching. Like, days, smoking, preaching, talking. I mean, I always thought that I felt comfortable, but I knew that I was out of place. But I love talking to the people around me that smoke because I always said that if you never smoke crack, then you can never feel my pain. You can feel for me, but you can never feel my pain. So I thought that these people would accept me. I thought that this was my tribe. So that's what kept me smoking for so many years. But this was not my tribe. Stay tuned for part 3, how I became sober off of crack. How I became sober from crack, part 3. So I kept going under the bridge. So around this time, you know, I'm going around the bridge. Time is going by. It's around my girlfriend's birthday time. And my girlfriend struggles with her birthday. Her birthday is a trigger for her. She always feels like she's not going to make it to her next birthday. It's a trigger for her. She deals with her own mental health, her own mental issues. However, I still was going through my addiction and I didn't feel like I was deserving of her. So I kind of self-sabotaged. When her birthday came the day before, I left. Well, no, I didn't leave. I got drunk as hell, and then I blacked out, and I went wandering the streets again. But this time, before I got to under the bridge, then somebody stopped me and told me that it wasn't safe. Thank God. And this person, they took me to another set of tents on another side of town. So you know me, I'm like, hey, what up? What up? You know, what up? That's me. That's me. When it came down to them new tents, that was me. Well, on this new side of town is where I met my predator. This is the longest I've ever been gone. I've been gone for about a week. Now, mind you now, even though I was on crack, I was financially responsible. I still had $2,000 left from the job that I had prior to that I got fired from. And mind you, I used to always say in the previous videos that I used to always be paranoid and scared about people finding out that I was high, so I would get stuck wherever I smoked at. My predator knew this, and he decided to get me away from the tent. He asked me to come with him. I said I was going to get a room. I thought this person was my friend, but you have to stay tuned for part 4 to figure out what happened. How I became sober from crack part 4. As I thought he was a friend, I trusted him and this other woman to stay at the hotel room with me. This woman was homeless, but she was full of knowledge. She didn't look like a homeless woman. She carried herself very well. And after all, he was the damn plug. So why not? Okay? And I wasn't no dummy. I know how the game go, but I had my own money. Like I told y'all, I had a job that I got blessed with before I went on my binge, and I had saved up $2,000. So I had my own money. Couldn't nobody play with me. Even though I was an addict, I was financially stable. I told y'all that in the last video. So now we at the room. I had already been up for days prior to going to this room, smoking. And I smelled bad because I had been up for days and I didn't have no personal products with me or no hygiene products. So we gonna call this guy Rashad. So Rashad knew I had this money. So Rashad made sure that he got me to this hotel safely. He made sure that he went out and bought me some soap. He bought me some underwear. He bought me a change of clothes. He bought me some food. He didn't do none of this for the other girl, the other woman.
Because he know what he wants.
So, you know, I'm not naive. I'm a little older now, so I knew, you know, what was going on. But I got my money, so like I said, I just want to smoke. Stay tuned for part 5. Sober from crack part 4. So after a lump sum of my money was gone, after smoking crack for about a week now, I decided not to make any more purchases. I'm making less and less purchases. Because even though I'm on crack and it's been time, I still want to have money for myself. Mind you, Rashad is the plug, and Rashad has been with me in this hotel with this other girl for days, smoking off of me and selling it to me. So I need to take my shower because, mind you, I told you that he bought me my toiletries, he bought me my hygiene products, toothbrush, all that, the whole 9. This other woman is here, and she's looking like she's salty, so I already know what time it is. Now, mind you now, this is his people, this is not my people, so I'm out of place. Even though I paid for the hotel, I still need him to give me the drugs, and she is his people, so it is what it is. So now I'm trying to take a shower. The lady leaves to go get the food. I'm trying to take a shower. He's trying to barge his way into the bathroom. I managed to lock the door and call my girlfriend. He leaves. So I'm taking a shower. I get out the shower and he's there. So he proceeded to throw me on the bed and essay me. Soon after, my girlfriend managed to come and get me. Stay tuned for part 5 to see what else happens. How I became sober off crack part 6, because I did 2 part 4s. Last one was part 5, this is part 6. So after I got home, of course my girlfriend was mad. Me and my girlfriend got into it. We slept for a whole day. Well, we tried to sleep, but we couldn't go to sleep. But then my girlfriend has like anxiety when her birthday comes up. So like I knew that no matter what happened, like I had to make her birthday. So they have this place. I'm going to tell y'all what the place name is after I look it up right quick. Alright, so this is the place. This is the place that I took her to. And yeah. Now for the critical ones, of course, I went home, took a shower. We cried, but we sucked that shit up. And we had a bomb ass time. So bam, we got up at the last minute. I made reservations. She didn't even know I made reservations because I told y'all I still had money left over. I had enough money to take her out for her birthday after I had smoked up $2,000 worth of crack over the course of 7 days. And yes, y'all gonna have to fight me. I'm making these videos short because I want it to be a long series so people can catch up from the old series and into now. So y'all just gonna have to bear with me. And people not even watching the story, so I have to give them time to catch up. I love y'all so much. How I became sober off crack. Stop dwelling in war stories.
I like them short because we can just get straight through it. And I'm glad I was not early to the party. Let's get back to it.
Start talking about how you stay clean. Well. The moment you all been waiting for. Part 7, how I became clean from crack. So after all this trauma has hit the surface and he has essayed me, I start using even more. My girlfriend's going to work and I'm getting high. I'm hiding the fact that I'm getting high, but she's not slow, so she know I'm getting high.
Damn.
I mean, after all these years, these whole 9 years, I've never had nothing like that happen to me. And I mean, I used to be under the bridge. Anywhere that I used to smoke, I used to be outside. I used to be, in the most dangerous places, but nothing never happened to me. Nobody never did nothing to me besides be sarcastic. Or in my mental health terms, third person. But we're going to talk about that. That's a little insider. We're going to talk about that. Remind me in the comments. But anyways, I'm going to let y'all know about Under the Bridge and why it impacted me so much and why I hold on to it now and why I held on to it. Why I held on to it then and why it was so secret to me, why I kept running back. So I didn't understand at the time, but I called it spiritually paralyzed. I was literally, anytime I smoked, I told y'all I was stuck, but I want to rephrase that. I was spiritually paralyzed from the waist down, which means when I smoked, wherever I was stuck. I was spiritually paralyzed from the waist down because I was embarrassed. So the reason why I want to talk about Under the Bridge is because I want to talk about what my first drug was. So alcohol was my first love. Alcohol was my first second God. That's the drug that used to make me black out and I didn't remember certain things. So every time I would black out, I would always want to get crack and then I would always go under the bridge. Pitch black dog, don't remember how I got down there, but I would remember once I'm there. I would always go down there and I would start talking. You know, at first when I went down there, I used to lie. So first it started off with the embarrassment of the smoking crack, even though everybody else was smoking crack. So I would lie to them because I heard somebody else in the past say somebody put it in their blunt, so I say somebody put it in my blunt too. Then I would just be a victim and just say what everybody did to me. I would never say what I did to other people. You know, I would make stuff up, just lying about shit, you know, making myself look good. Then on another note, I used to go down there and I didn't know who I was, so I used to go down there and talk like people from where I'm from. I used to be like, yeah, boy, what's going on? What hey, you know, shit like that. But eventually, after doing that for so long, I wasn't getting no type of release. I wasn't getting no type of like stress, you know, off my chest. So I opened up and I was honest about it to them. I'm like, well, y'all know when I started telling y'all about such and such, then I was lying about it. You know, now I'm telling y'all the truth. And, you know, people start clutching their purse and, you know, not believing me. And I didn't care because it was for me, not them, you know. But at the end of the day, I was repenting too in front of millions of people. Like, I have smoked in front of gazillions of people, but smokers. And I would talk all night. I'm talking about for 4 hours. Don't let me hit that bitch because I'm talking forever. And I'm going to let you know when I come up to you eventually. I started, you know, learning myself. And I started speaking my truth. And I started preaching. And people would not say nothing to me. They would sit right there and they would listen. I'm talking about people that stayed up for 4 hours listening to me talk, just like how I'm talking to y'all. And I'm going to upload some of my my in addiction videos. I just didn't want to upload it because it's sensitive, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. This is my story. I've shared it with y'all this much, and I've made this video longer. This video is almost 4 more minutes, and I promise y'all it's going to get better. But stay tuned for part 8. Thank y'all for listening. And I just want to let y'all know, as a little disclaimer, my life, yes, I have the time to do the videos, but this is very hard to talk about these things and relive it. Yes, I'm healing, and yes, I feel like I'm healed, but you're never going to be fully healed. You know what I'm saying? You always changing. You're always changing every day. So,
amen.
How I became sober off crack, part 8. So, like I was saying, alcohol was my first true love, my first second God. So, you know, like, alcohol had me wrapped in this cocoon. Like, alcohol, I was in love with alcohol. Like, I loved crack, but I was in love with alcohol. And as I said, alcohol would make me black out, and all my emotions would be pouring out. And, you know, sometimes I got aggressive. Sometimes, like, and I never remember what I did, but people would always tell me that I would have the same spell over and over again. And, you know, it would always make me just go, I would gravitate towards the under the bridge. And I've had a lot of encounters down there, and I'll tell y'all those stories, you know. But as the time goes by, I'm praying to God. Like, I never prayed for crack at this time. I wasn't ready to let crack go. I'm not letting the crack go. But at the end of the day, with the alcohol, I knew that it was my gateway drug to crack. So I kept praying away the alcohol. Like, that's how bad it was. This is how bad it was, if y'all can see. And that's not including all the bills and the ones I snuck and the bottles I snuck and the bottles we throwing away. Like, it was just bad, y'all. Like, when I used to go down there, like I said, I used to have money. So I would buy crack and I would give it to everybody. And when my crack was gone and my money was gone, everybody would act like they got down Stevie Wonder, but it never bothered me.
Oh, hell no.
I didn't have to get nothing on credit. People used to just throw it to me. Of course they do that, but I wasn't no dummy. I played the game how it go. And even all the dealers and stuff like that, like, I used to tell them about themselves, not being disrespectful, but when they treated somebody wrong, I stood up. And don't get me wrong, I've been timid all my life, you get what I'm saying? But I stood up for what was right. At the end of the day, I just gotta take a minute to admire my fat cheeks, y'all. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, anyway, I met a lot of cool people down there, you know, like, for real. Like, they taught me a lot. Like, they gave me tough love. And even the ones that really didn't like me, that did shun me away, like, nobody ever, like, dismissed me. You get what I'm saying? Like, they always were sarcastic. And we're gonna talk about this third person thing, but you're gonna have to wait until part 9. Thank you.
I'm wondering if, like, she's, like, super sleepy. I don't know. I don't want to say she's high. I don't want to say she's drunk. I don't know, but her eyes are super low. Her energy's a little bit different from a couple of the other videos. And it just could be the time of day. I don't know. But y'all let me know what y'all think. So this is part 9. In part 9, I'm just going to sum it up for y'all because she kind of got off track, got on track, got off track, got on track. Plus there's copyright music under this video. So basically, she knew that before she was addicted to crack, you know, she loved alcohol. And alcohol was kind of like her starter. She knew once she got the alcohol in her system, she was going to want to go and do crack. She said she slowed down on alcohol one day because she went to drink some. It smelled bad. It didn't smell right, and she drank it anyway. I believe she said she got sick or something, and so she slowly but surely, like, you know, stopped drinking as much as she was. So she thought in her head, if I slow down on alcohol, then I'm going to slow down on crack. And she said she quickly realized that that is not the case with her because she be fiending for it. So she said she went on a 6-month binge. And towards the end of that binge, you know, she said she started to get more paranoid, started to scratch. And, you know, she said she was just like in love with the crack. If she could be a crack rock, she would have loved to have been a crack rock. She was crack. She loved crack. Crack was where it was at. Crack, crack, crack. Let's continue on.
How I became clean off of crack, part 10. I kept going under the bridge. But after all the talking, preaching, and repenting, nothing was working no more. It was now time for a new season for me. Y'all see my baby over there? I had felt like I had already served my purpose there. Like, and my spirit told me it was my last time of going under the bridge. Like, something in me just told me it was my last time going under the bridge. The next day, my girlfriend called me. And it was a very peculiar call. The news that she told me was very shocking, nonetheless. And she right here, so no cap. So she told me that they had a staged event. Like, there was a whole stage. They propped up a whole stage right there where I was smoking crack. Like, a whole live-ass event. Police everywhere. Police everywhere. So that right there was confirmation for me. If that wasn't confirmation for me, then I don't know what it was. But let me finish the story. Never have I seen that, like, out of my whole 9 years of smoking and being down there. I tried to go back the next day, And y'all, something pushed me. Like, something pushed me. And that something is God. Like, I knew it was God. Because soon as I got pushed, it was like I was a child. I'm his child. You hear me? I got scared. You hear me? I turned my behind around. And no, it was no going. Like, he is my protector. Like, he was protecting me. And I got scared. Like, don't be scared of God. Like, we do supposed to have the fear of God, but it's a good fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, Dad. Yes, I understand. So my addicted self started doing what? What y'all think I started doing? I started smoking in the house.
Oh.
So speaking of smoking in the house, part 11 is going to be the video of what I manifested of what's going on my page right now. Love you guys.
Okay. I need visuals for somebody else that is going through or will go.
This is an 8-minute video, y'all. So we just gonna check out some of it and move on.
Through. I'm looking on the floor.
This is her in addiction.
And in the beginning, it started off because I was looking for more dope. But as you can see, I hate to be so raw and transparent. But I developed a defense mechanism. That's the right term, defense mechanism. So instead of me talking, if I'm not talking, then I'll start looking. Or I'll start just doing different things. Like, I've noticed the pattern, and I wanted other people to see too. But now what I'm realizing is I have to find a different approach to help somebody. I can't be in the same space doing the same thing. I'm not gonna say I can't, because I've done it. I'm just gonna say that season of my life is over. And please understand, understand, whatever it is, whatever one you use. I just want you to pick up what I'm dropping. So they didn't know how to approach the situation. They didn't know how to be a chameleon at that moment. Now I realize because my spirit was very high. And my spirit is very high. Like, my spirit, I'm just gonna say this. Y'all will hear about the story about the old woman that I met. That's the only person since 2017. I'm the same feeling that most people probably get from my spirit. And I understand, because at that moment, I didn't know what to say to that lady. I didn't know what to do. I was all over the place. I could barely sit down. This video is for me, but it's also for somebody else, and that's why I'm able to do it. Normally, when that camera get on, my voice gets taken away and I get stuck and I can't say what I gotta say. Just like how it just happened, this is why I have to record it to let other people see a visual. But this is me fighting, because normally I would get stuck and stay there for a minute, but I'm not doing that no more. Just know, whoever, if y'all have the same reactions or whatever on any drug, not just crack, just know it does not stop there. And don't let nobody else make you feel like that's just the drug, because it all stems from somewhere. But use it in a positive way. Put yourself behind you and think about the next person that could be going through the same thing.
Okay, so yeah, I skipped around that a little bit. Y'all seen that. And if you guys want to check out the video, it is still up on her TikTok page. We are going to go ahead and move on to part 12.
How I became clean off of crack part 12. So the reason I knew it was time for me to almost go from under the bridge is because months had gone by. I'm talking about months on months on months. I had been smoking crack for months before I came in the house. Anyway, I was still preaching and talking and preaching and talking and repenting and talking to the same people who've already made their choice in life. No pun intended. I love all of them wholeheartedly from a distance. So I started to expose myself, because like I told y'all in previous videos, I was always embarrassed. So wherever I smoked at, I smoked only with smokers. I'm talking about people who smoke crack. And what I started doing was I started smoking in front of people who don't smoke crack.
So as I'm doing that, I'm building up self-love. I know that sounds crazy, but you have to understand and understand where I'm coming from. This was all a process. It did not happen overnight. Everything, there's a blessing in every lesson. There's a lesson in every blessing. You get what I'm saying? You just have to find it, and that's what I did. So for me to start smoking and fighting my embarrassment head on, start smoking in front of people who doesn't smoke, when I normally for 9 years only smoked in front of people who did. That was an embarrassment for me to do that head on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was God. Crack was really a portal for me. When I say a portal, it was a portal for me. It opened up my mind so much. I see so much clearer now. The scales are off my eyes. Of course, when you're changing, you're never fully changed. You're never fully healed. You're always going to continue to heal. You're always going to continue to change. And I know this is a short video, but stay tuned for part 13. I got to give people time to catch up. I love y'all.
All right, this is part 13. Part 13 had a lot of copyright music, so I'm going to sum it up for you. Basically, long story short, she says she was in the house with her current girlfriend, and she was doing crack when her girlfriend was away at work, running errands, whatever. She said she ran into an old buddy that she used to do little drugs with in the past, sneaking him in the house, and they would do drugs together. She said it got so bad she started doing crackhead stuff, selling stuff out of your house to get money for your next hit, right? So the friend introduced her to a dealer that cared, and she did, air quotations, that care. And he pretty much wanted to assist her and the friend on getting clean. So one day she was supposed to go with him to a medical center to do like rehab and everything. And he was going to assist her in the process. And she wasn't ready to be clean. So she was just like, you know what? I'm not going to go. Her girlfriend asked her, do you want to be clean for you? If so, go. If not, don't. And she was like, I'm not ready to be clean. I don't want to be clean. So she never went. But the dealer did not lose, faith in her, or no love was lost or nothing like that. He still cared for her and tried to assist her in any way that he could. Let's get into part 14. All right, again, I'm sorry, copyright music, so I'm going to sum it up for y'all. So she says that her and some other folks that were doing the drugs would come together. They would come together, they would do their drugs, they would talk about the Bible, all of these things. One day her girlfriend joined her, not joined her as in took the drug with her, but she joined the group and she read a couple scriptures. When she read the scriptures, they made sense to her, and it kind of put everything together for her. It brought purpose to her. She felt like she was being, delivered. She said one day she was hitting the pipe and she discovered a hotel key that she hasn't seen in a long time. She hasn't even been in any hotel. So as she was getting ready to hit it, she reads the key, and the key says, "You have to let me go." And she was just like, this is nothing but signs. I'm getting signs left and right. At the same time, she's hitting the pipe and she's starting to itch. She was on this drug for 9 years. She said she never itched the whole 9 years. It was starting to be uncomfortable. When she would get high, it's almost not enjoyable to be itching and high at the same time. So she pretty much said it was getting uncomfortable, and that's when her journey actually started to become sober. But within her journey, she didn't just up one day and say, I'm clean, I'm done, cold turkey, that's it. She said no, she would be sober for a couple of days and she'll relapse, and then it'll be another couple of days she'll relapse. It'll get to a point sometimes where she say, I don't even want to be clean no more, I just want to do the drug. And she'll do it so long, she say, you know what, I want to be clean again. And she would just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with herself until she was able to completely let it go. She also ended the video with saying May 1st of this year was the beginning of the longest sobriety term she's had. We still got one more part, y'all. All right, and never mind. It looks like number 15 was dedicated to how she ended up married, because she didn't go into details about that. Long story short, when she got out of jail that time and went to go live with her boyfriend and his dad and his girlfriend or wife, they were paying her to do hair and different stuff. Once they stopped paying her, she got an attitude. She began to be a little petty, and she said, look, if you want to live here, you got to be married. So they went and got married. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this series. I think it was pretty good. As I said, if you continue to scroll on her page, just recently, she relapsed again. But again, I think it was like a 1 day thing, but she is now on day, again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She's on one of those days of being clean. So she's still on her journey. She's still rocking. She's still trying to figure stuff out. Y'all let me know down in the comments the ultimate question I asked at the beginning of the video. Do you think that you could now or ever be with a person addicted to a drug such as crack? And if you have in the past and you got through it, or y'all got through it, share your stories down in the comment section. This was a little bit different for us, but I'm definitely glad I tuned in. You never know what people are going through, what leads them to take a certain drug, do drugs, want to do drugs, want to try drugs. A lot of people say when you start off with alcohol or weed, you are tempted to try something else because you want that weed so bad, or you want that alcohol so bad, and then eventually it's not enough for you, or you got somebody around you who ain't good for you and they like, hey, try this, hit this, and you're willing to because you're desperate, and before you know it, you are addicted to something strong. Y'all be safe out there, all right? Look, if you like videos like this and you want to see more is to come. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, because right now, King Day is out. Peace. The motherfucking building.
Run it up for sure. Yeah, BRISKO, not no amateur. Run that shit, we had all the show. Say that shit for your camera.